Welcome to Sports Geek Amplify, where we profile sports technology solutions to drive results for your sports business. In this Sports Geek Amplify episode, we chat with the founder of Zoomph, a social audience intelligence platform that can determine the value of your digital assets to drive more revenue from digital. Here's your host, founder of Sports Geek, Sean Callanan.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports Geek Amplify. I could say I've left the best till last, but I love all of the people in the Sports Geek Amplify cohort equally, but very happy to welcome Amir Zonozi from Zoomph. Welcome, Amir.
Hey, excited to be here, Sean, and geek out with you, longtime listener. I've always wanted to say that, so excited to be on here and looking forward to some tough questions from you. I've seen
definitely. We will get stuck into that, and like you said, we are longtime friends. Back in the olden days, where people used to go to conferences, we have met up multiple times. Hopefully, those days will return. I know the Zoomph origin story, but a lot of the listeners might not know the Zoomph origin story. How did Zoomph get started?
Yeah, no, great question. I'll keep it quick because you usually need 5 beers to tell it. But, we started off doing work with the State Department, believe it or not. We would look at the impact of diplomacy in areas like the Arab Spring. And we started creating some solutions. We were within an agency. And the CEO was like, hey, this is not going to fly in the government. Let's get you guys out there in the commercial world. And we just started creating fan engagement tools, working with everyone from Coca-Cola, Twitter, was having a lot of fun, followed customer requests around data, started getting into audience analytics. 2018, the Cowboys came to us and they said, hey guys, we're doing a lot of partnership content on social media. Our marketing team is not the use of this, it's our partnerships team. We said, hey, that's not us. We're flattered, but we're social media fan engagement. They said, no, we really think you're the best. And F you, we're the Cowboys. And we said, okay, let's do it. And we crushed it and did another project with MSG, crushed that. And lo and behold, we had a partnership platform ahead of us. So last couple years, we've been focusing and building on this and just growing tremendously in sports and esports.
A great startup lesson there. Listen to the customer. Sometimes you don't know, you're selling a product and you think your product's going this direction. But when the customer says, no, you solve this problem for us, that's what we want. So that problem, which is one that I think would be familiar with a lot of the listeners is, hey, how do we value? What is this worth? I mean, we've got the digital to dollars pillar of know your value, and over the last 10 years, we've done all of the different methods of trying to aggregate all the different assets and all the different analytics and a little bit of art, a little bit of science to try to say, oh, this social series or this Instagram post or this tweet is worth this. That's where you started because you had the back end access and you were playing and being in the analytics space so much across multiple platforms. That's where that genesis of that work started, and that's pretty much what the Cowboys were coming to you for.
Yeah, you nailed it. We joke and we call ourselves King of the Earned for those Game of Thrones fans out there. But because we were a fan engagement platform, we had to specialize in bringing in content from other people to visualize in these screens in center field, center hung, on the ice, what have you. And because of that, we really got really great at understanding data that we didn't have authentication for. And so that was really helpful for benchmarking. It was really helpful for capturing every piece of content. And at the end of the day, attention's currency, Sean. So we're looking at all of the attention that these teams are generating and understanding what would have this cost had I run an ad and achieved the same performance on the respective platforms. So we look at the impressions, we look at the engagement, we look at the video views. We run AI across all of the content, media content, to understand when brands are being exposed. And we're capturing these moments. And then we're also understanding who is this audience that's engaging and interacting with it. And that is the real difference maker right there. It's not just the performance, it's who is engaging. And fans, I mean, it's not homogeneous, right? Just
Yep.
because you're a fan of the team, not everyone is like you. And multiple people come and celebrate and fan hard, right? And for all these different reasons. And their relationship, Sean, is stronger than most people's relationships to their own church, right? So what we want to understand is, okay, who's in this fan base? How do we segment them? How are they engaging? Where are the pre-existing relationships that these brands already have within these fan bases, and just deliver to the fans? If you're bringing in brands that the fans already love and admire and have pre-existing relationships with, it's a win-win-win for everyone: the brand, the team, and the fans. So, at the end of the day, we're capturing all this value in real time, understanding what does it cost for these organizations, what that value is, and then understanding who's being engaged, who's being entertained, then how do we make that content even more resonating with them. So it's a little bit of a process, but like you said, attention is the heart of it. And whether it's sports or esports, it's or music or film, we just focus on sports and esports. All of these fans are the oxygen that keeps this entire industry going, and so we do everything to deliver by them.
And the good piece is not only I guess the content assessment of did that content work on that platform, but that audience piece. Like I love diving in to the data and digital matrix that the sports team can produce and find what we call these audiences of opportunity, because we've moved away from this. Here's all our followers, and here's the pitch to our brand. We've got 1 million followers. We all know that the algorithm, and you're not going to reach all of those million. But the real value is the 100,000 that is aligned with that car partner or with that soft drink beverage or whatever, and actually delivering value there. So it's not only did the content work, but like you said, it's finding those really good audiences and understanding how you can commercialize it and it be of value to the partner.
Yeah, you nailed it there. You want to get as niche as possible. We got an internal phrase here: niches get riches. And so if you can get, as niche as possible with these different audiences and understand why did they come, why did they associate, then you can bring in the right partners to really activate upon it. And so at the end of the day, this can not only be used for partnerships, winning new partners, right? Looking at your audience,
Yep.
what are those existing? It's not only a great way for retention by seeing that growth and affinity over time, but it's also a great way for optimizing content or understanding what audiences are coming in based off business decisions that you're making. NASCAR is a client of ours. When they banned the Confederate flags in race car tracks, that was a big decision for them, right? And it had a lot
Yep.
of people engaging in conversation, but we were able to look at that audience that was there beforehand from that moment of that conversation, and then look at the audience that came in afterwards. And we were able to see it was more liberal, there was more women, it was Gen Z, it was millennial, it was global. We saw UK, Canada, we saw Mexico, and all of that was, done in aggregate with privacy consciousness. But we were able to see this new audience had affinities with the NBA, followed players like KD and Kyrie. And so it's just an entire new audience set. And so everything you're seeing with NASCAR today, they're working to win this adjacent audiences that they had with other sports. And from everything that you're seeing with Bubba Wallace and the Jordan brand to, you see NFL and NBA athletes now live tweeting during these events, from people freestyling, they are working. And this is how organizations need to be thinking. How do we attract a fan base that will help us win bigger partners, more opportunities? How do we show that this content can resonate with them? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The blueprint is there. People are there, they're engaging, they're interacting, they're fans of more things than just you. So when you collect this information, it's a guiding post to understand, okay, when we overlap our audience and our brand's audience, that's our partner. This is a very terrible Venn diagram for those of you that can't see me, but what does that middle percentage look like? What is their favorite athlete at the right holder? What are the other elements that are into? And you can create this compelling content, much like what 100 Thieves does with JBL Audio and their intern, to what all these other organizations are making. And it just takes the guessing game, the hunching right out of it, to ensure that you're doing content that resonates well. But yeah, you nailed it. It's it's really important to understand who these fan bases are, and it's not just one individual; it's multiple groups and segmentations.
And so from an evolution of digital, we both remember the days when people were throwing digital in or throwing it in for free, and we're like, don't give it away for free. And hopefully and gladly that we're moving away from that to be able to say digital has value. Have you seen it pretty much? I guess the adoption of Zoom, and especially in this space, come from the partnerships team, and has that been coming from the brands themselves because they're getting more sophisticated? Like the CMOs of big soft drink brands, financial brands are starting to put, more rigor around the spend they're doing in the digital space. Is that where the push is coming? So it's coming in from the brand saying, we want better reports. We want to be able to tell our boss that the money that we spent with you as an esports team or an NFL team or an NBA team and what you're doing in digital is justified. And then it started with the partnership team doing it as here's the great report that reports that we did it right. Has that really been the impetus of where most people come through the door at Zoomph?
Yeah, so great setup to a really great dilemma. Most people they don't realize, and I'm gonna about to give away a secret. And I don't care if competitors are listening. Is that the brands really own the ecosystem, right? Because they are the partners, they are funding it. They don't want to be sponsors. They're not doing this for the love of the sport. They're doing this because they have a bottom line and they need to meet it. And there's no better way than to gain trust in a new market through a sports property. I mean, there's no better way, right?
Yep.
And now, if you make your data easier for those brand marketers and media buyers to consume and compare against their other assets and other investments, whether it's Spotify, whether it's YouTube ads, whether it's radio ads, whatever it might be, right? If you make it easier for them to compare it and see the value that you provide for them, they're going to invest more into it. There's just nothing like sports marketing. So what we do with our platform is we make it as easy as possible for brands to understand the impact that these properties are providing them. And so that's really the secret of it is we just make that data so easy to consume. And so brands are really funding and pushing the ecosystem. There's a little bit of they don't want the kids grading their own quizzes anymore. And I say that in no offense, but
Yep.
with the pandemic, there's less money to go around. There's less people, work, people are being furloughed and let go. You don't have the ability to make decisions and get it wrong, right? And so what this means is they have to make sure that the data is there. They have to make sure they can back up their decisions and investments. And so they are putting a lot of pressure on the rights holders to provide this. And at the same time, digital, at one point it was being given away, and that attention, it's here's the thing, Sean, it's like sports is not the product anymore. Sports is the platform, and the product
Yep.
is the branded experiences that you're providing to your commercial partners. And there's so much there to go with and do, and the content. There's a reason why Disney and Netflix are fighting over content, right? Right holders and properties need to be thinking about their content in the exact same way, and they need to be make sure that they're monetizing it correctly. If you go too high, brands will walk out that door, right? There has to be a conservative approach to it. It has to make sense. It has to be fair for both sides. And if you hit that and you're able to provide that engagement and entertainment and that value in front of their target audience and bringing them there, it's a home run, right? And so I should probably not reference one sport over another metaphor, but I mean that's it. At the end of the day, it's brands own this ecosystem. How do we make it easier for them to understand the value that sports provides them? And I think the pause in live sports, nothing showed us the world more than how bad we needed sports in that pause. I know it was painful for everyone, and so it's been interesting to see how brands have come into the mix and invested more into it, and now we're seeing new different categories as well, from
Yep.
personal care. You're seeing Manscaped. You're seeing all these organizations like Invisalign, right? Coming into there, and they're not looking to do it for the as great as the people are behind these brands. At the end of the day, you need to deliver.
And that's where I guess where digital has the currency of that performance marketing, like the Manscapes and the Invisaligns and the financial companies that say we want digital to drive a result, so we're moving away from that media buy, brand awareness piece to how do you drive a result. And so I think that that ability to, present a report that says, here is your sports media spend, not calling it sponsorship, and comparing it to TV, comparing it to radio, comparing it to YouTube ads. I think that's vital, because I think that's where more of the money is. And then, the more trackable, the better. And then the added benefit is what you were saying before, is your digital folk, moving away from the partnership commercial folk that can see the commercial reality. Your content team can produce better content because they know what's working, and they know what what niches are underrepresented in your content plan. Like, it's always the case, you're looking at who you're producing your content for, and we do it for your digital cheer squad. That super tribal, consume everything. I've got a tattoo of the team on my back, fan. But then we realize, there's a segment of our fan base that is an avid fan base that we're not producing content for. And then that both becomes an opportunity for your content team to dive into something and do something on a particular platform or a particular style. And the cycle, it starts getting, hopefully my digital divorce counselor rates start dropping, because the commercial guys and the digital guys start working together. So that's one of the key pieces.
Yeah, and you've been ahead of the times with the Digital to Dollars program and what you've been doing, and it's a shame that a lot of this the COVID was, pandemic was a catalyst for people to realize the value of what social can provide them. And one, I pay money. I don't know if I if I'm biting off more than I can chew, but to see where that tattoo is. But two, it's insane that people, one is their value that they're creating themselves, right? Two
Yep.
is, what about the influencers, the fans, and the impact that they make? There's David Dobrik. He gave his one of his best friends, his assistant Natalie, part ownership at the Angel City FC. Great
Yep.
organization, taking 10% of all their sponsorship dollars to a new benefit cause. The value of the attention that generated was insane, right? LAFC. Every time Mario Lopez, hashtag AC Slater, you'll know if you know. If you don't know,
Yep.
I envy your youth. But whenever Mario Lopez wears that YouTube TV kit for LAFC, there is value that's being generated that they could attribute to their owners, to their partnership with YouTube. So it's the earned value delivers tremendously for that, and you're seeing organizations get smarter. Washington football team, I love what they're doing with their YouTube strategy, Sean. I mean, they've got a different video that goes out on a different day, targeting a different audience every day of the work week. And it's, they're not doing it on their website. They're doing it on YouTube. They're going to where fans are. They're creating content in bite-sized entertainment, engaging ways. They're giving fans what they want, where they want it, in a way that they could search it at any time and view it, and persistently obtain viewership and exposure for their partners. This is where the future is, right? And so being able to provide the strategy in a way and calculate that value back, it's going to get harder and harder. And that's what, that's our problem for organizations. It's helping understand throughout all that content, what is that worth? Where is that going to go? And so the partnerships, that's usually where, a lot of our, the pain point comes from, because they've got to go to our partners and describe it. But we're also, we work with a lot of people in business and intelligence, and they're trying to get more and more savvier about how to take this data and merge it and compare it to other data sets that they have.
Yep.
So it's fascinating to see, with the, taking the data from APIs, how does this connect to our ticket buying once, people return back to fans? How does this compare to the website traffic? How does this, all that activity and merging that data across different data sets? The two departments that I'm seeing a tremendous amount of growth in on the rights holder side is one, the creative team. And they are really the most important asset for all these organizations, that content that they create. And two, it's the business analytics and insights, because more and more weight is being put on them. And where we're having fun is like to what size, how big can you make the logo size before engagement decreases, right? Because
Yep.
there's always that, could you make that logo a little bit bigger, right? And
Yep.
then, or how is winning an impact? You mentioned this earlier about, content over the season. Is the season record just a marketing element, right? Orlando, the women's soccer team, when they didn't get into the Challenge Cup, they actually generated one of the top engaging content. If you ranked all the teams during it, they weren't even there. They were just a fan.
Yep.
And what was so interesting about the pause in live sports, teams that historically do not do well with the on the field, they were doing better with creating media valued content during the positive live sports because they haven't had the luxury of leaning on to the winning. So there's just so many elements of just looking at this data that could dive in and provide the results. It's not just that there's a different game being played than what's on the court, and it's exciting to be a part of it and watching this grow and shift, between esports and traditional sports. We're seeing some really savvy ways that these organizations are engaging their fan bases.
One thing that I like that is evolving is how the digital departments, like the metrics they're putting on themselves. Like if I walk
Yep.
into, when you're allowed to walk into an office, you see the season ticket department. There's a big number there. How many tickets they've sold? What's their current renewals? Like it's a really easy number to understand, and it's a commercial number. Like you sell that many tickets, you know the money. Again, the commercial folk, you go in and they've got their sales on the board, and they've got a race between all their partnership associates on how much money they're bringing in. For too long, you'd walk into the digital department and you would have a lot of vanity metrics like, oh, how many Facebook followers do we have? Have we passed someone in the Twitter following, or website traffic, which can be quantified, but like there hasn't been those commercial numbers, and so sometimes the creative team, who I agree do great work, get caught in the creative bubble of we're creating great things and not realizing or not having that commercial focus. Do you think, as your start, as it's been driven by partnership, and one, they're seeing the light bulbs going off for them to see, oh wow, this is what digital is worth, this is what we're selling it for. Do you also start seeing that number to be able to say, oh, here is the number that digital is generating, and circulating that amongst the organization? Because I think it's a really valuable point for the org to realize, oh, look at the millions of dollars of value that our digital department is generating for our team and partners, and becomes a bit more of a commercial focus from the digital team.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to tell an adjacent story, and then I'll get more
Yep.
connected into sports. But um, Drake, everybody loves him, right? He's got his tracks. Look at how Drake's music has changed over time. His songs have gotten shorter. He's gotten more songs on his albums. The hook comes sooner, right? He's architecting his music to generate as many streams as possible, right? Why? Because streams get him more money, right? The more streams that he has, he's getting paid for it. We're seeing this now in sports where some of our customers, right, they're like, how do we improve the quality of our logo exposure? Well, it's as simple as putting a color block behind your logo. A lot of these esports teams, they'll have the logo bug kind of rotate over time, and that actually reduces the value if it's over gameplay and not behind a color block logo. The other thing is, the NFL. This was actually a really interesting story. The Houston Texans did some amazing stuff here. They, were looking at their value of their tarps, and they were like, "How can we generate a higher value?" Because there was a lot of the sun was hitting the logos in a way from where the cameras typically are to reduce, and that hurts their quality when the clarity of the logos. Well, they realized that if they got one of those sky cams, right, and they put it in the middle, or if they got shots from up top, one, it would change, it would give more logo exposures to different partners that they have at once. Two, it would reduce the glare from the angles that they previously had. And they became the highest, ranking value for all the NFL teams from simple, creative ways of looking at their content and how can they increase that value that they are delivering. So you're absolutely right when you said earlier, it's a little bit of art, it's a little bit of science, it's understanding how to do that right engagement. And sometimes it's just like other applications. So back to Washington football, when they beat the Dallas Cowboys. That's a rivalry that has a lot of engagement on both sides. So when they showed a fan of the Cowboys fan that was crying with his girlfriend at the as their end cap with Geico in the bottom left corner, that
Yep.
the amount of engagement that was generated from that, it was a work of art, and Geico got a lot of exposure as a result of
Yep.
it. So it's not just these creative teams are getting more sophisticated, but they're also understanding what they can do increases the value or not, without sacrificing the quality of content that they are producing that keeps fans engaged and entertained. So it is a new game. It is, and if you're not practicing and are not thinking of these in an effective way, you're leaving money on the table, and you're not giving partners the opportunity to correctly and effectively engage with you. And these are simple things, simple tweaks. If just simply it's like, I wish you and I could just sit down with a lot of these people and just help coach them. And it's like, this is not that hard. Just walk us through what you're doing today. So there's different, yeah.
It's definitely, but it's also the flexibility of getting your creative and your digital team the flexibility in those commercial agreements, right? So there's no contract that says, Geico, you're going to get a tweet that says there's going to be a crying Cowboys fan, right? That's never been in a contract. But if you have a broader agreement that says here's the value we're going to deliver, and the creative team knows that they've got to get that when they have that moment that is presented, they present it with the sponsor rather than and that takes a lot of relationship building with your partnership team and with the partner to be able to say, we're going to do some stuff on the edge, or we're going to do some stuff that's real time, and we're going to be putting your messaging in there, but the bet on that creative, which sometimes will go viral and go great and sometimes won't, but you need to be able to have that to and fro with your commercial team and digital team to be able to execute that, because that type of content, which is a great example, it's not in a contract. It's not in a
Right.
There will be 14 tweets throughout the season, and one of them will have this, which is what the initial 6 or 7, 10 years ago, that's what the initial contracts were. The contract requires 27 Facebook posts with our logo on them and our mention on them, and like, no, that doesn't work. Like, we need to do it a bit more organically. You need to be integrated. We have to use the word authenticity.
Yes.
So, like, getting your team to that point is that next level of being able to integrate a sponsor on something that's real time, that goes, to the moon. If we're staying on topic for the current trends.
Mark Stevenson over at the Washington Football, how he integrated, with his team, the different ways of the elements of the partners in there. Yes, he didn't have to get a sign off on every one of those. He earned that creative freedom to do that. And it's amazing. Or, just even making things more technologically sound, like Ryan Bashar, what he's doing at LAFC. Like, he's capturing all the content earned across everything in real time. And then he's pushing this into Core, where there's a digital dashboard for their clients that in real time they can go see those value. So he's making it so easy. He's connecting the entire technology system in real time and providing it. So it's like partners can watch and see in real time those activations that are being done. So it's not just like the creative ability to engage with partners and that freedom that you have, but two, it's how do you keep partners abreast of what's going on in real time so they can feel like they're a part of that success as well. And so it's just,
Yep.
You absolutely nailed it, Sean. It's and that comes through being able to show that you know what you're doing, you have the numbers behind your success, and when you have that over time, it's beautiful. The last story I'll tell,
Yep.
I'll be really quick on this one, is I can't say the team name or the partner, but it was an automobile, and it was an NBA basketball team. The automobile company wanted them to put their foot under a trunk, wanted to show the rearview mirror, and it was all these. And the team was like, "No, that no one's going to click on that or watch the whole thing. That's crap,
Yep.
right?" And they were
Yep.
a lot more nicer than I was. And so what they did is they did an audience analysis. They took the team, they took the automobile, and then they looked at, okay, across all of our different athletes, who's the number one? Okay, him. Okay. It was a male team. So they put him on there. And then they're like, what are other information? Okay, dog lover. Okay, We're going to put his dog in the front seat of the car with the person from the automobile car dealership. Okay, what sustainability? Okay, cool. We're going to go into a park. There's going to be a plastic cup on the ground. They're going to throw it away. It's not going to be a big piece about it, but it's just a little factor of what they're doing. Purpose-based marketing is everything right now for brands. And then 2 is like Whole Foods, #1 restaurant or grocery store. So let's make it look like they're at a grocery store. So then they revamped the entire video where the athlete was going on a road trip, and so he wanted to spend some time with his dog, and they had to go do a checklist of things within the automobile, and the automobile just made it easier for them to do all of these different things. So they reinvented the entire story by using data-driven. It just resonates better. You don't know that this was made for you, but it was made for you without you even knowing it. And after you do a campaign like that, you have full creative freedom to a degree with your partners because you've won that ability to do it. So, it's just amazing what you can do creatively and how you can think outside of the box when you have the numbers to back it up and you've got the research to show that you know what you're doing.
Well, that's what Netflix is doing to all of us. It knows what we're watching, the styles and genres, and that's what it's picking the next content. And, what you're just saying there is exactly the same. Like, you can dive into your data to go, well, actually, we should be doing content like this. And then the reporting piece, the being able to go back to a sponsor and have them brag about something that you have done. Like, I always talk about it. You want to be sharing barbecue stories. You want your sponsor who's at a barbecue to be telling their friend or mate, oh, by the way, our logo was on this tweet and it was worth this. It's easy.
Yeah.
Like, they can tell it like that. It's a little barbecue story. They're the things that add up that go, yep, we are renewing because I've been able to tell my boss either at a barbecue or at the water cooler, oh, how's it going lately? Oh, yeah, this tweet, it did this for this. We've already got our money back on our, on our contract on a couple of different posts. So, like, that reporting piece and that storytelling piece is vital for the digital teams to be able to tell it. But then once the commercial teams can also tell it, it makes their sales job so much easier because they can be doing that with different partners as they go to market.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just, internally within organizations, but how incestuous sports is. And so it's being able to show these wins to their colleagues and sharing, what works, what doesn't work. It's a lot of times we're being pulled into conversations from, Team Liquid wants to show you to another colleague of theirs, like, hey, we did a really good job. This is who was able. So we get a lot of word of mouth references, but, use your colleagues as potential opportunities to share ideas with, as ways of saying, hey, this is what we've been trying to do with this partner. What are you doing? It's not a zero-sum game, right? It's a ecosystem where, if we're all generating value within sports. So it's always great to meet with others, share what's going on, look for opportunities to improve. And, tweet me. I'm always here to do it. I nerd out on this stuff, but, we find that is a really great way of just, having just a easy way of just engaging and interacting with people of, how can you optimize what you're currently doing and what are some opportunities to improve from what others have done.
Well, Amir, really enjoying us geeking out, but now it is time for us to get to the Sports Geek Amplify triple threat, where I'm going to ask you about time, money, resources, and how Zoomph can help someone. First of all, time. How is Zoomph a time saver, and in what way is it a time saver for some of your clients?
Oh man, this is where we kick ass. So basically, our AI is capturing every brand logo exposure, and then we also have asset exposure as well. So we're looking for objects, physical objects, in addition to what partnership assets there are. So for anyone that's been in partnerships and trying to do a report on all of the different assets and all the different values. That's all I got to say. It's a game changer. So we're providing them an incredible amount of time that's being saved, and it allows them to get back to all the other billions of things that they have to do. And then the last thing I'll say is we have APIs, so we don't have to be the end all dashboard for you. A lot of it is the business intelligence people want this data in their system so they can match it with other data sets. So that's time is where we make the biggest impact.
Yeah, so if you're someone who has put those reports at the end of season together and asked for all the analytics and tried to put it all in a report, you're nodding your head right now. That's exactly the exact time saving opportunities you get with Zoomph. From a money point of view, we've discussed the commercialization of digital. How does Zoomph either save or make money for a rights holder?
Yeah, so this was dubbed by our clients. They call our data reports or affinity reports the scouting report. And so
Yep.
basically, for winning, go in and win new partners, we pre-organize into different partnership verticals, the different brands, and then we also get brands of view of the different rights holders where their fan bases are. So we're trying to connect those dots. Every audience has a story to tell. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible. And then secondarily, it's retaining those current partners that you have by showing if you're doing your job right, followership should grow on both sides, and that's an easy way that our affinity reports help retain audiences as well. So as far as saving money, it's less resources needed for some of the reporting capabilities to allow them to do more sophisticated stuff. As far as making money, it's retaining your partners and winning new logos from our data.
But primarily the piece is the ability to quantify what you're producing to bring that money in, to be able to say, and are you seeing, in more of a trend piece from a like overall agreements, are you seeing like a sponsorship agreement is, here's this much hospitality, here's this much, logo patch valuation and the like, and then here's this much digital. Are you seeing that digital pie growing year on year?
Oh, it's growing tremendously, and I'm a little upset that we didn't structure our deals that we get a percentage of the deals that we make. Because that's really honestly, we're helping so many organizations make deals through our insights. Especially in sports betting. I mean, it's insane. I won't mention the team and the sports better, but our results showed affinity there before areas were legalized. And when that
Yep.
area was legalized, it was the highest performing area. So it's like the numbers are there, and so yeah, 100%. All of that is impactful to show those results. But digital is not slowing down; it is growing, and it's because it's easier for brands to understand the impact that they're making with everything else that they're doing. All those other things will come back, but digital, it's this is a content game from here on out for sure.
Yep. And then from a resources point of view, what kind of resources do you need? New resources? What kind of resources are needed, and effectively use Zoomph as the tool?
Yeah, as long as you have a social media team that's creating content, then we can run it and analyze it. Again, attention's currency. So as long as there's attention being generated on your social media and that's an active part of your partnership channel, we can run our AI through it. We can run our analytics through it. We can help you understand the value of it. And if you have a team that's there on your partnership team, we can provide you all these results to help you go. We do have services that we can come in and help, but at the end of the day, it's we're built, and this is something that makes us competitive. We're built around you. Like, we're not asking you to form to us. We form to organizations that we work with. We want to solve our clients' problems. If we're making our clients happy by solving problems, selfishly, they're going to stay with us longer. And so our customer success team has been our biggest differentiator in this. And if you ask anyone that is a Zoom client, I'll bet you $10, right, that if they'll say customer success is one of the first five things that they say. It will usually be number one, but I need that $10. So but I'll give it there.
No problems. So we can't have a podcast in 2021 without talking the past 12 months and COVID and its impact on the sports industry. I'm very lucky in my part of the world. We are starting to come out and return. Stadiums are being half filled. I'm going to be heading to the MCG later this week with hopefully 50,000 people, which is amazing considering I haven't been to the MCG in over 12 months. The industry overall has been impacted. How has it been impacted, and how have, I guess, you been working with teams to get through it, and what have been some of the changes that you've seen?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to be there building towards this future of digital, right? We saw that digital was going to be the future in sports. Now, we couldn't have predicted what happened with the pandemic. That was such a catalyst, but we look at it as an honor to help these organizations guide them in what they do forward. From everyone from Riot Games to Golden State Warriors, coming to us is a tremendous honor, and so we've been very fortunate to have a lot of organizations come to us because of what we've been doing out there in the space and because of the work that we've been doing. And so, we look at it as, we're trying to help these organizations. A lot of furloughs have happened, but if we can help them monetize what they're doing, keep as many people at these opportunities, that's been the special thing for us over everything. So for us, it's been we've from our clients what they're telling us it's a necessity, and we couldn't be more thrilled to be their partner and help guide them. And what's great is we have so many different clients that we've become this resource hub. So any issue or problem that's kind of been out there, we've seen it and we've helped people get through it. So at the end of the day, it's just it's been exciting to be that organization for people in this time of need.
I mean, and that's pretty much the genesis of the Sports Geek Amplify series is partners like yourself to help lift up and help sports back. And I've been joking for the past 12 months that COVID's going to win the Digital Transformation Officer of the Year because and definitely in the world of sports, like digital has now become a focus. Like when you can't have fans in the stands, then all your fans are digital. It's a drum that both of you and I have been banging on for 10 years, but it's great that realization has happened. And I think that, even when sports does come back, it is changed. Partners now know the opportunities they can do in digital. And there's completely new partners that are now doing digital that never did digital before because they were always like in-store and stadium activations, and that's what we do. Why? Because that's what we do. Like that was the only answer, and they've had to pivot to digital, whether it's moving their businesses online, all of those kind of things. And sport is a great avenue, both the audience piece you said earlier, like we're already doing all these things in the digital space, so it's definitely accelerated that piece.
Well, and what's crazy is Sean, the entire thing is a lot of times in the past people didn't even give enough attention to understand how large their digital audiences are. Right? They only focused on Ticketmaster, who's in the stadium, and for all intents and purposes, really just ignored their global audience that's out there. Well, I mean, now that people are seeing the value of what their digital audience and the size of their digital audience and the global presence, I think it's unlocked a tremendous amount of value that people did not realize that they were, for a while they've been standing on gold and picking up silver. And now there's this opportunity that now they've been forced to look at their digital audience and say like, holy hell, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of opportunity. And you know what, with this fluid fan model, that's out there right now where people are focusing on the athletes, this is the opportunity to really capture fans globally and as they're being introduced to these sports by being out there and expanding your reach. So it's just, most fans will never make it into the physical, even though I'm jealous that you're being able to go in, and I can't wait for that day to come here in the States where I am. But yeah, it's I think this has opened a whole new world, and judging by how happy brands are and how much more they're investing into digital, I don't think it's going to be changing anytime soon.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. This is where I get to the part of the episode where I do the Sports Geek pitch recap, where I recap everything that we've discussed and try to give it back to you, elevator pitch style, using the formula. You know how what we do is, in fact. And here's my attempt, Amir. You know how it's been a journey to commercialize digital assets and audiences. What Zoomph does is helps brands understand the value of their digital investments to help sports rights holders drive more returns from digital assets. In fact, in this year's Super Bowl alone, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers generated over $2 million worth of value from 67 million impressions across Twitter and Instagram as measured by Zoomph. That's pretty much it. That's exactly what you can do. And the reason I love to have you on this is one of my goals, and I stated it a couple of years ago in a room full of 300 people, is I want digital to be the number one driver for revenue for sports by 2030. And it's people like yourself that are helping make that happen. I think more and more digital opportunities and revenue is going to come into the world of sport, and I'm really looking forward to more sports being able to get a slice of that digital pie.
Yeah, I mean, you've been a pioneer in this space, Sean, so thank you for everything that you've been doing, pushing organizations to look and focus on digital. It's tremendous the impact that digital can make, and this is just a lot of fun hanging out with you. It's like I feel like we need a buddy cop kind of comedy movie going on here. Just going around checking in with different organizations and be like, show us your digital, kind of coaching them, and this was fun, man. And I can't tell you how much joy it brings me to kind of geek out with the sports geek himself.
Well, thank you very much, and that actually does. It is something. Maybe we're quite open for it to be optioned by Netflix. So please drop us a DM, slide into our DMs if we want to set up series. But a bit of a call to action. The people who are listening or considering, hey, should I get Zoomph? Maybe what we should be doing is offering them something similar to that, Amir.
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, what do you think we should do?
Well, I think what we should do is, if you are one of the first 20 people to sign up with Zoomph, you can go to sportsgeekamplify.com/Zoomph or zoomph.com/sportsgeek. Either work. What we're going to do is we're going to do a special Pick My Brain session with both myself and Amir with your digital and partnerships team. We'll dive in. We'll look at it. We'll find you those audiences of opportunity. We'll find you some really cool digital activations. And I'll tell you what, we'll even throw in some Sports Geek and Zoomph swag. If you are swayed by hoodies and T-shirts, we can do that. So go to that link. It's not an offer that Amir and I do. Like, it takes a lot just to get us both on the same call. The wrangling that we've had to do to get on this call today. I would love to do it. Like you said, Amir, this is exactly what we do in real life. Whether it's at a conference or at a bar or over Zoom, whatever it might be. I enjoy doing it. I would love to do it with some Zoomph clients.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I couldn't think of anything that'd be more fun. And 100%. Usually in person, I got to get frisked by security before I get close to you, Sean, just because of your celebrity status. But no, I would love it. If anyone wants to take advantage of this, just bring some tough questions, bring a good beer, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much, Amir. If people want to reach out to you, where should they do so? What are the best platforms to reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm Zonozi, Zonozi on all things social, and Zoomph is Zoomph on all things social. So tweet me, don't clubhouse me, and we'll go from there. No, this has been awesome, and thanks again for having me. And excited to engage and interact with everyone that listens.
Terrific. Well, that has been our episode of Sports Geek Amplify. Thank you very much to Amir Zonozi. Like myself, if you cannot find him on the internet, we are just not doing our job correctly. We're very available on all different channels, but be sure to go to sportsgeekamplify.com/Zoomph for your chance to, get in touch with the guys at Zoomph, have a check it out, but also don't forget you can claim that special limited edition. We might even mint it on NFT. Who knows? That's how limited it is. A Pick My Brain session with both Amir and myself for people who sign up through Sports Geek Amplify. So if you're thinking about doing it, you're on the fence, make sure you say, hey, Sports Geek sent it, and you'll get a special Pick My Brain session with myself and Amir. Don't forget, check out all the episodes in the Sports Geek Amplify series. Go to sportsgeekamplify.com and also share the Sports Geek podcast in for whatever podcast platform you want. My name is Sean Callanan, and you've been listening to Sports Geek Amplify.
Please check out all episodes of the Sports Geek Amplify series at sportsgeekamplify.com. To connect with Amir at Zoomph, go to sportsgeekamplify.com/Zoomph. Join the Sports Geek Amplify cohort on a special #SportsBizZoom reunion show on June 8th and 9th. sportsgeekhq.com/Zoom-calls. Watch all Sports Geek Amplify interviews at sportsgeekamplify.com. This has been a Sports Geek production.